Welcome back. I'm Dan.
I'm James.
And you're joining us for the Cornwall Property Podcast Market Updates episode. So thank you once again for joining us. And here we go. I've got a first article that I'm going to share with us, James, and I am actually looking at an NRLA. So if you're not familiar, National Residential Landlords Association, very, very big influential body that looks at private rental properties mainly. But they have done an article with some research recently, just trying to summarise and give a bit more guidance to the government in terms of why we're struggling with rental properties, particularly private rental properties. So they've gone in here. So they've actually done their own research, and they're saying that we should be reinstating mortgage interest rate relief, and that should be in full for the private rental sector. They think that's one big reason for a lot of private rented landlords selling up, because it's a big hit on their profits at the end of the day. It's a massive hindrance for those probably older, more historic landlords, I suppose, that have been doing this for quite some time, and that would have been a big cut for them. But now they can't have that benefit. It's making a big difference, and I know you'll be one to completely agree with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Section 24 has been the biggest game changer for landlords in the last 5 years. It's horrible, and it just reduces margins, and that's where you hear a lot of people say it's buy to let dead. Yeah, we know it's not through our previous podcast episodes, but it really does shrink those margins. So yeah, for those on interest only mortgages, which just the interest side of that mortgage that can be offset, you only get 20%. Give us 100% back any day of the week. Yeah,
crippling. So the actual article here, and again, article links are all in the show notes. So if you want to have a little read in more detail, go for that there. But the mortgage interest rate relief benefit was allowed for landlords to deduct their mortgage interest from the income that they received when they were filing their returns for the rents. Now, this was tapered out between 2017 and 2021, and it was replaced by a far less generous tax credit system, so to say the least.
Yeah.
Now, what has been said here from this article is that they feel that by reinstating this relief, it will massively help the private rental sector, because it makes it far more desirable once again for private rental properties and landlords to get back on the market, not to sell their properties. So research comes amid supply crisis, as we know, which confirms a cause of pain for renters across the UK who are desperately seeking a place to live. If they can't buy their own, they're obviously going to be privately renting, but if people are selling up, they haven't got places to rent either. This is the whole problem we've got here, particularly down in Cornwall. So changes to mortgage interest relief have been a big factor in lots of landlords' decision to sell their properties, with mortgage interest rates being reinstated. Research claims that 110,000 fewer properties would be lost from the private rental market. So big numbers, 110,000 properties kept to the market for private rental tenants. I don't see why you couldn't say you knew we have to have that.
Yeah,
now,
big time.
The article also looks at other areas, but I think that for me was the main one there. Again, look into the article yourself if you want to learn a little bit more. But there are a number of different reasons. Obviously, interest rates is a big one over the last few months particularly, but just a bit more of a stable. They're trying to just give a bit more of incentive to private rental landlords. Now, I know landlords in general get a stick anyway, but that's just with a few landlords giving everyone a bad name. But I feel that any sort of support, any sort of benefit that could be given to a private rental landlord, you could argue that we're biased because we are private rental landlords anyway, but it's just going to help the market as a whole, surely.
Yeah, no, big time. I think it would encourage a lot more properties coming back, but don't forget there's a lot of landlords that have kind of reinvented the wheel for this, limited 20% on the tax relief, because they've just set up limited companies. And we've had, again, in previous podcast episodes, so many landlords have set up limited companies as, special purchase vehicles. But the downside to that is you've got more fees. You've got your accountancy fees to do at the end of the year, which is like £2,000. But just encourage people to buy property in their personal name and offset a simple overhead, which is the mortgage interest. Why shouldn't you be allowed that?
For sure. James, before we jump into yours, I just want to give everyone a little bit of an idea of what's happening on this podcast. So we have got a new little segment in this episode. So guys, if you listen this far, stick around with us, because after James's article, we've got a little fun addition to the podcast, which is called the Wow of the Week. So our producers here at the Cornwall channel, they have picked a wow property that's currently on the market here in Cornwall, and James and I are being put on the spot, and we have got to... Basically, we have not even seen this property yet. We're going to be showing the link to this property live on this podcast, and we've got to kind of work out what we feel the end value of this product is, and what the property is actually on the market for at the minute. So stay around, be tuned, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on that too. But James, what have you got for us?
I have got something that we sort of knew was going to happen anyway, but don't be too disheartened, because we've actually got some figures to go with it now. So I've got my article, which is mortgage lending down almost, have a guess, 25%, which is absolutely massive. I didn't realise it would be that much in the first quarter. So now we're through the first quarter, the stats take a little bit of a while to play catch up. And yeah, we've got mortgage lending by building societies was down nearly a quarter in the first 3 months of 2023 compared to the same period in 2022, reflecting falling demand in the housing market. This is according to the latest data from the Building Societies Association. However, the figures also show that mortgage approvals in March alone picked up, suggesting some modest improvement in the housing market activity. But actually getting some figures to this, the BSA reveals that gross lending in the first quarter of 2023 was £13.9 billion, which is down 23% on the first quarter in 2022, which was £17.9 billion. But there's no surprises with the mortgage rates going up that less people are kind of just holding out, and with the housing prices at the moment, and that's kind of what the government wanted, right? People just to slow down the buying, stop lending for a bit, and just hold fire. But that, I didn't think it would go up to sort of 25%, Dan.
No, it surprises me. But what we've done in previous podcasts, if you listen back, but what we're finding is that it's the top end of the market that is really suffering. Definitely. I feel it's the lower entry level properties that still seem to be moving and ticking over quite nicely. It's at higher end where these interest rates are really hitting home, I feel. But quite surprised at actually the vast number of percentage there.
No, absolutely. And just with your article of what you were talking about with sort of tax relief and stuff, if that isn't bad enough, with mortgage rates being so high, I mean, it's just not an attractive market for people to do buy-to-lets, especially if you're geared up on a mortgage. If you're buying cash and you get all the rent yourself, okay, it's a good investment. But if you've got a mortgage, it's just the figures are too slim for the risk.
Not as attractive. No, something needs to be done. Right then, wow of the week, James.
No pressure.
We're going head to head.
We're
going head to head. So James and I are going to literally look at this property for the first time in a moment that producer Mr. Spinks is going to share with us. But we're going to go and see. We're going to keep a little tally of who can get the closest to the values. So Mr. Spinks, what are we looking at here?
So we've got some very exciting stuff. Obviously, there's amazing properties across Cornwall, and I want to put you guys head to head to see if you can value these properties. So our first ever wow of the week comes from Carline Bay. It's a 5-bedroom, 5-bath property. I'm going to give you guys 60 seconds to have a quick flick through these images, and then I want to see what you think is valued at. Are you ready?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Okay, we're going to put 60 seconds on the clock. Off you go.
Okay, 5-bed, 5-bath. Oh, I can see a very nice bifold door with balcony. This is
I know exactly where this is.
Yeah. Does that give you competitive advantage?
I don't know if it's the right one. There's no outside pictures. Wow. I can't guarantee it.
See the garden?
Look at that view.
Yeah,
straight over down there. Down there's Charlestown, I believe. This is where I think it is.
Yeah.
Nice bathrooms, 5-bed, 5-bath. Oh, a bit of outside space. So we've got a little. I wonder if that's a balcony. Is that a balcony?
Yeah, bridge balcony.
Here we go. Now we're talking. Yeah. It's as close to a floor plan I'm going to get on this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's this one here.
Yeah.
So again, neighbours, very. Mm-hmm. Are you overlooked though? You've not really shown. You must be. I like it. It's nice. Fairly modern.
Yeah.
Beautiful views. You're not going to get that anywhere. Yeah. I know properties on this road, on this area, are millions. Again, it's as worth what someone's willing to pay for it. But
it's one of those types of property, and the furnishing and fittings.
That is your time up, gentlemen.
Tom Raffeld light in there. You're looking at 800 quid.
So who's going to put their neck on the line first? Because I feel that
I will.
Well, we have made this quite difficult for you because obviously I've not given you all the photos. You have no floor plan. You've got very little information other than the images that we've given you and the fact that how many bedrooms and bathrooms it's got. However, I would like to know, how much is it worth?
Oh, I can go first if you want, Dan. I'm going to throw a figure out there. I am going to go 3.8 million.
I think it's more. No, do I?
I'm basing that figure just for that to go creeping up more than that. Like, I'd want a bigger garden.
Yeah, you want a lot more.
But I know I'm paying for the sea view. I get that, but I don't want to see neighbours.
I suppose I'm familiar. I'm going to shoot myself in the foot here, but I'm pretty sure I'm aware of another one up this road that is on the market currently for around 4. This one isn't as regal, as prestigious. I reckon this is probably about 3 mil.
Oh, wow.
3 mil for that one. You're going what?
Very tight numbers.
I'm not going to backpedal. I've gone 3.8.
Okay, so we just click on this one, Spinks, do we?
Let's go for a reveal of the price of this property in Carline Bay.
Wow. Ooh. I'm miles out.
Sure, money bags.
Bargain.
Wow, look at that.
Bargain, isn't it?
That's a Billy, that's a big Billy, isn't it? Big Billy bargain. Yeah, that's lovely. Beautiful. Look at his views.
Wow.
So that goes for our first ever wow of the week. That puts Dan in the lead.
Let us know your thoughts also as well. Yeah, Dan, can you say that again, please, Mike? That puts Dan in the lead.
1-0.
Where he lives down the road. Yeah, okay, I'll go for that.
Look, guys,
never even been there.
Be very interested to know what your thoughts were here, guys. If you were listening and watching here, please do share what your valuations would be in the comments. Really, really interested to hear your thoughts. And if you've got a property that you would like us to maybe have a little look at and have a little guesstimate on what we'd value it at. But no, it surprised me, actually. It's a lot less than I thought it would be. It really is.
Yeah,
but
big time.
Well, guys, that is it for today's podcast. Thank you ever so much for joining us. We'll be back again for another Cornwall Property Podcast episode. But again, if you haven't already, please do share the podcast. Give us a thumbs up. If you haven't commented on this one and told us what your price was, please do. We're really interested to hear your thoughts and how mad our figures maybe were. And again,
mine.
or just changes. And yeah, please do subscribe. If you haven't, give us a little follow. Give us a little subscribe. It really does go a long way and helps us with our reach. So thank you.
Absolutely. Just remember, you can get in contact with us on our Instagram, such as Facebook and Instagram. Alternatively, you can send us an email on podcast@cl-property.com. And I would like to shake Dan's hand for saying well done for winning the first. Wow.
Wow.
Damn it.
Thank you. Goodbye from me.
Bye from me.